Alright, in today's episode we are back in the Oakwood Zoo, the Japan section once again, to build for the first animal in this section, the red-crowned crane. So in this enclosure we build a Japanese-inspired lookout tower, as well as a little river going through the crane's enclosure, and a wooden-style backstage building with a lot of detail. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Oakwood Zoo. I did not expect to make make a video back this soon. Basically, I know I put it we had the Pagoda video, which again, if that's an amazing episode, go watch that if you have not already. I'll put it in the description. But we did that video, and then I did a break video, basically where I was talking about how I'll be going on a break after that video and the upcoming months. And while that is true, I kind of said that more with precaution, that if you don't see any videos from me for a while, then that is the reason. But I didn't exactly say that it would be a clean break, because again, I don't know how much time I will have in these upcoming months. In these first few weeks, I have had a bit more time to do stuff, so I have been able to do some stuff. I have been working on a couple videos here and there when I have the time, but again, this will not be my main priority. Thankfully with this, I actually was able to finish this. I spent a few hours just to get through it all and actually finish the enclosure. I had the scraps of an enclosure at the end of last month, and I kind of wanted to come back to it and finish it when I had time, loosening up the scraps, and I ended up making a pretty cool backstage building because that was what I had left, and obviously just finishing up the outdoor section for the cranes. But overall, I think this honestly turned out really good. I think it's more of an average type enclosure. I didn't want to do anything too extravagant for our first one. I will throw them up on screen now. I'll probably put them in the workshop at some point, but I made not so much Japanese style but more East Asian wall pieces, and I haven't found a way to use them yet. I was originally going to build for the raccoon dog first, or the red fox, but I unfortunately did not really have too many good ideas for that, so I put the walls off to the side. I still have them, and I am going to use them eventually for an enclosure, regardless of what it may be. But for now, again, I will put those on the workshop, or I might put them on the workshop when I put out the enclosure that I use them in. So if you would like that, then let me know down in a comment below, and I will make sure to upload them. But other than that, so today we are building the crane enclosure. So this is the first animal enclosure we've done. This is the third episode of the World of Japan section. In the first episode we did the entrance, where we had the shade structures, I guess, and we also made the iconic torii building, kind of archway, where the guest actually enters. That way you actually officially belong in the Japan section. You actually know you're going into it, because this section will just be, it won't be connected to any other section. It'll just be a loop, just like how you do the any of the buildings we have, like the Americas Pavilion. You go all the way around the section and then a loop, and then you go back out the same way. So I've really tried to do a lot of these mini loops throughout the park, so you don't want to have too much crowd congestion, and you also just don't want to have a lot of repeating. You don't want to backtrack, so doing all these little sections and little loops, and you go out and then you keep exploring, that seems to work pretty well, and I'm going to probably keep doing that with a lot of these newer builds. So with this enclosure, this is the first animal enclosure. We've done the entrance, we've done the giant pagoda, which again, that one took so much time, and I was a bit disappointed because it did not see, I feel like a lot of people did not see that one. The strange part with that one is that the two videos of the Japan series have underperformed, but the first one was my fault. The entrance video was my fault because I forgot to put hashtags or something on it for the first day. I uploaded it and then I got distracted with something else, and then I came back and I was like, oh my god, there's no hashtags on this. So that probably explains why it didn't do as well. But it was a bit disappointing for me for the second episode for the pagoda, because everything was there, I made sure of it, and it still underperformed, and this is probably one of my better enclosures, one of my better builds, which is just a shame because it is one of my favorite builds to look at. I can take endless pictures of it and stuff, and I'll probably make posts about it on Instagram and stuff like that going forward. But hopefully we can make up for it in these upcoming episodes, because we still have about 4 or 5 episodes left of this Japan section. We have 4 animals to build for. I mean, I will probably do a tour video of the entire section at the end. But this is the first animal we are doing, the cranes. And I apologize also because this footage in this episode is not of the actual enclosure. It is just that lookout, the Japanese lookout, for 2 reasons. Number one is that I already had spent very long, I think that the footage in total adds up to 2.5 hours of me building this giant, this little lookout tower, because it is very detailed and it is very cool, and it kind of brings up the whole enclosure together. But my computer can only take so much with like how much footage I put onto it at once. It's kind of like a taking turns kind of thing, where I just put all the footage on. I have just enough to make the video, upload it, and then I delete the footage, and then my computer is back to normal. So I can only put so much on it at once before it just starts to get really like it just runs out of space. So I had about 2.5 hours, like I said, of footage from this, just building that lookout alone. So I had to use that, and I couldn't record anything else because it would just slow down my computer and I would just run out of storage. And also, reason number 2 is just because the rest of the enclosure is very similar to stuff we've already done. The foliage work, you guys know my foliage work, it looks very similar with just a bit of the changes. Like we used a few different trees just because we're building in the Japanese section. The indoor building is pretty similar to stuff we've done in the past, especially if you watch like the petting zoo videos. That kind of style is very similar to what I did here. I used like a very classic kind of wooden structure because I know I tried to use I try to mix it with like the fancy architecture of Japan with like the nice like lookouts and the pagoda, with also more of like the rustic style where you have like the more wooden slate stuff like that. And I think overall it turned out really well. One thing I really liked about this enclosure was the fencing in the back of the crane enclosure, because I used a rope and netting, like a wooden log fence or whatever, for like the river part or around the river beds. But in the very back I used kind of like a cloth material, like one of the fabric pieces, colored it red and put it in the background. It covered it with like bamboo and stuff, so you can only see like bits of it. And I think it honestly turned out really well. I like it. I think it's a nice contrast, because we've used that fence before in like the Red River Hog enclosure or something like that. But with this specifically, I think it turned out way better, because again, the red just works so well with like the Japanese theme and everything. I think it overall looks really good. How we'll be approaching like the future animals in this section is basically we still have 3 left: the raccoon dog, the red fox, and the Japanese macaque. And I have ideas for a few of them. I definitely have an idea for the Japanese macaque. I just don't know how well it's going to work. I've been looking at stuff like the Central Park Zoo with like how they do it with like their snow monkeys enclosure. That would be a pretty cool thing to recreate. That was something that was really cool, number 1, to experience in person, but also just to like look at how like the actual enclosure works and stuff. And like, the problem is I think it's like almost like a 360 kind of view, and what I want to do with these enclosures is just have it like a loop where you just look out in one section, so you don't go all the way around the enclosure. It could work, I could make some changes, but for now I don't know. I've also looked at like other things like the monkey islands, where you have like just like an island and then have like a bridge, or of course like a rope bridge connecting to a building alongside the water. A lot of zoos do that for like containing monkeys, and it's a smart way because you don't have to drench everything in a giant netting cage. You could just have a moat of water, which is pretty nice. I think honestly I want to do that. We have built for monkeys in the past. We built for the sake monkey, which was okay, and I do want to build for some other ones as well, like the lion-tailed macaque we just got from the Asia pack. But I don't know, I'm still debating, I'm still working it out. We haven't really touched primates that much. We've done 1 enclosure for them so far, so it's going to be interesting to see what else I can really do with them and what kind of different enclosures I can do, because I don't want to make them all the same. I want to make them a bit different. For the red fox and the Japanese raccoon dog, it's a toss-up. We have the walls that we can use that I've already made. I just don't know what exactly the enclosure is specifically going to look like. I had a rough sketch of like I used the walls and I used a glass wall to like be like the viewing area, but it just felt kind of bland and kind of boxy, so I want to make them a bit more unique and a bit more like immersive for like a Japanese section. I want to have like more bridges and like lookouts and stuff like that, just more stuff that'll make you feel like you're in Japan, or like more immersed in the theme rather than just looking in through a window. But yeah, overall with this enclosure, I think it turned out really well. I love the lookout. The one thing that's kind of a shame or like a pity about this enclosure is that the lighting is not the best. When you're looking at the lighting in the actual enclosure is actually not bad. It's like actually pretty good. But when you're looking at the lookout, like when you're first entering it, there's no way to get like a good lighting like where the sun hits it, which is really a shame. And I wish that like Planet Zoo had, like what Prehistoric Kingdom has with their capture mode, is that you can control where the sun goes. So you can control like, not only what time of day it is, but also where the sun is, like where it's positioned. So you can exactly pinpoint where you want the sun to go and where you want light to shine, because then you could get a light angle off of anything, which is a bit of a shame here. I really hope we get something like that in Planet Zoo 2. I'll probably make another video going over like more features I want in Planet Zoo 2 in another video. But again, a lot of people seem to really enjoy the first video I just released past Saturday, but last week. So yeah, that overall is really good, and I think overall this enclosure turned out really nicely. The backstage building was pretty kind of like, again, very original to what we usually do, but I think it turned out really good. We used lots like the wooden planks and the wooden pieces we normally do in other episodes. Looking forward into the rest of the month, we still have a couple more videos to go. I don't know if I will be making another episode of this series as quick as I did with this one, so hang tight with that. I do have another Planet Zoo 2 related related video, and I also have another video related to like another ranking video. So depends on when I get those out, but I should hopefully be able to finish editing those this week when I have the time. So that will be hopefully available to me. I'll hopefully have the time for those so I can release them in the coming weeks. Again, I'm going to stick to one video per week because it just feels very safe, because I don't want to start releasing 2 videos every week, and then because of that I will miss a week, and then there goes the consistency. So I want to keep going with just one video every week, probably Saturdays still, because I do like releasing stuff on Saturdays. It's very easy for me and I can be on time with it. But yeah, rest of the month probably ranking video and another Planet Zoo 2 video. I feel like we're gonna really start going into Planet Zoo 2 stuff more as it comes, like as we're getting closer to that, probably next year. Again, long time away, but still it's fun to make speculation videos about it, and it's fun to just get like the ball rolling with what they could do with it, because who knows, maybe they do watch the videos, maybe they will find one of these videos and take inspiration of like something to do in a Planet Zoo 2. Who knows? I've already seen other creators start to talk about that, and again, it also sounds like Planet Coaster 2 is having something revealed, or I guess it would have been revealed by this time this video is coming out, but it's probably a DLC, like a spooky DLC or something like that, Halloween related, which would make complete sense, which that will be interesting. Again, this is what I was kind of saying with like Planet Coaster 2 is going to start having DLC like in this fall, carrying over like God knows how many like years, depends on how successful it is. And then we also have Jurassic World Evolution 3 coming out in October, and we'll probably get a DLC in December. Hopefully that is the Rebirth DLC, the Rebirth pack, because I don't really want to wait another 6 months or another like 9 months I guess from now to get Jurassic World Rebirth stuff, because I honestly think the designs from that movie look really cool, so I really want to get them right away. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it honestly for what I have to say on this video. There's not too much that I can really go over, not much. Again, things have kind of slowed down recently, so I don't have a lot to go over in the future, more upcoming stuff. We'll be continuing working on the Japan section. I do have a space for another species kind of like beside the entrance that is not in the actual Japan section, so I might take a small break from the Japan stuff and just work on an Asian species, so maybe stuff like a badger or something like that, or a European species, something like that. I'm not sure. Or I could also just make it like a restaurant. I really don't know. But anyway, that is gonna have to wrap up my stuff, my voiceover on this video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave a comment down below if you did enjoy. And yeah, I will see you all in the next video. Probably will be the Planet Zoo 2 video next weekend. I hope you all have enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye guys, enjoy the rest of the video.